On the back of all the Rugby Championship squad announcements, I thought it's time to tell you how I think the championship will go. So in fourth, I've gone with Argentina. They've been interesting since Contapome came in, losing to an inexperienced France side, but also beating them, and I think they deserve more credit than they are getting for smashing Uruguay. Uruguay are not a bad team. They really pushed Scotland hard in that game against them, and I think Scotland and Argentina have been pretty similar level teams over the last few years. So their dominant performance against their South American counterparts is actually quite impressive. I don't think they'll get smashed, but playing New Zealand away twice is going to be difficult. Even though New Zealand haven't looked 100% under Robertson yet, they will struggle to get anything out of these games. I think they might be able to beat Australia at home, but the Wallabies have looked good so far, but it's difficult to judge as Wales haven't been great, so we'll see. They'll back themselves to perform at home against the Box. They do normally turn up, but I doubt they will win in either game against South Africa. But I want to reiterate, I don't think they'll get smashed by anyone in this tournament. So I think they'll probably get one win against Australia and then probably lose the other games. In third, I have Australia, who I think have looked good under Schmidt in the little we've seen, who is a coach that I have a lot of time for. I think he played a big part in turning the All Blacks around last year, and I think he's already got Australia working better than Eddie Jones ever did. Question marks around their scrum and set piece have come up, but their forwards did put in a good shift against Georgia, who are known for their forward play, but I know a few of their star forwards weren't available for that game, so it maybe wasn't an accurate representation of a Georgian pack. They do host South Africa twice, which is really good for them because historically they have done very well over South Africa at home, and more often than not beat them. So I'm going to back them to get one win against the Box, but they are going to need to make sure their maul defence and scrum are up to scratch for that to happen. I suspect they'll be looking to get 2 wins over Argentina, but I think they'll probably lose away, and I doubt they will get a win over New Zealand, but New Zealand's less than vintage performances against England might inspire them in that regard. But regardless, I doubt they will gain the Bledisloe Cup. Now, South Africa are interesting. I've put them second, but by no means would I be shocked if they won the whole thing. The problem that they have is 1, history, and 2, travel. They travel a lot in this tournament because of where South Africa is compared to other nations, which leads them to having to play Australia twice in Australia, which South Africa don't have a great record in. South Africa have only won in Australia once in the last 10 years. Granted, that was the last time that they played, but there was also a double match in Australia and the Wallabies won the first match. And history tells us they don't win this tournament. In fact, they've won the same amount of World Cups as Rugby Championships and Tri-Nations. To put that into perspective, New Zealand could have won every World Cup and they would only be at half the amount of Rugby Championships and Tri-Nations they've won. They also have a lot of players unavailable, with the likes of Faf de Klerk, Stephen Kitsoff and Franco Mozart all unavailable, and that's only scratching the surface. They had a good test series with Ireland and Portugal overall, probably not happy to have conceded 21 points against Portugal or to have lost to Ireland in the second test, but Ireland are a good side, so I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with losing to them, but it's probably just a bit annoying, and you know, Ireland did go entirely against type to win that game. The last drop goal attempt Ireland went for was in 2018 against France, so who could have predicted 2 in one match? The main thing that is still making me want to put South Africa at the top spot is that at the World Cup they weren't at their peak, and I think they've already shown better performances in their games against Ireland than their games at the World Cup. This team is still getting better and they're already world champions, and that's scary for any team coming up against them. The one advantage I think South Africa have is the 2 games against New Zealand are being played in South Africa. But generally, regardless as to whether 2 games are played in South Africa or New Zealand, both teams tend to get 1 win. But it is a potential advantage where if South Africa can use the home crowd, it might push them over the line and get them a win to take them to the title. But yeah, I think they'll get 1 win against New Zealand, 1 against Australia, but will probably get a losing bonus point in the game they lose and beat Argentina twice. So New Zealand are on top, but like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if them and South Africa swap places. They weren't necessarily convincing against England in the test series, but I do think England were playing well, and it's not all down to the All Blacks not turning up. They do have a new coach, which technically every team does, who isn't as experienced experienced in international rugby as Rassie and Schmidt are, but I do think are advantaged in playing Argentina twice at home. They've also ripped up a playbook they've essentially been running since 2003, so progress was always going to take time. But what they did show against England was an innate ability to win, which will come in handy during this championship. And let's not forget, in the World Cup final, they did lose, but they were very close while being a man down for most of it. They should beat both Argentina and Australia twice, and I think they'll probably lose one of their games to South Africa, but will have enough to win the other and finish top at the end of the tournament. I think these are reasonable predictions, but with all the amount of new coaches, it is kind of hard to tell what's going to happen. But I think Australian fans are already more than happy with Schmidt than they were with Jones. And you can learn all about his time as the head coach of the Wallabies by watching this video right here. Thanks for watching.